So Sinister 2 is a thing that's in theaters. If I had to sum it up in one word, I'd say it was disappointing. It was a disappointing movie. Although that doesn't really surprise me. Whenever there's a good horror movie, Hollywood comes along and says, hey, look at this. This was good. It made money and it got good reviews. Let's try to make another. And then they make another, and usually falls into two categories of either A, a complete and total cash-in made strictly to make money, or B, a genuine effort to capture the magic of the original film but failing to catch the magic. You gotta go to them gym classes, man. That magic runs pretty fast. So, yeah, that's Sinister 2. What's the plot, you might ask? Well, I'll tell you. A deputy goes around burning down houses because, hey, he wants to stop this nonsense from happening again. We lost Ethan Hawke, we don't want to lose anyone else. And he gets to the next vacant house, and hey, guess what? It's not vacant. There's a woman and her 2 kids inside, thus becoming the next targets of the demonic entity known as Magul, as they must fight for their lives against a supernatural energy they can't possibly comprehend. So yeah, that's the first movie. I guess for the non-spoiler summary, since I'm just going to go through the plots. Non-spoiler summary. Picture Sinister. All the good things done subpar. The characters and their motivations being completely confused and dropping in intelligence. And there you go. We have Sinister 2. What's my recommendation for you? I'd say pretend you never saw the first movie, sit down, and watch the first movie again. Seriously, do it. This movie ain't great. So here's the plot of the movie. I'm going to give you the plot of the movie. Okay, so we have the opening shot, which is the same as the opening shot of Sinister, the first one, the first Sinister, with the 8mm footage of a family being killed, but with a twist this time. It's a dream that the kid is having. Boom, title card. Opening with a cliche. So we find out about Deputy So-and-so, who it was a deputy in the first movie, is going around burning down houses and trying to prevent the chaos from happening again. And one thing you'll notice about him, you see that face up there on the screen? He makes that face about 80% of the movie. 80% he's keeping this very confused, oh my god, I think I know that person, but I'm not really sure expression. I make that expression a lot, so I know what I'm talking about. Anyways, yeah, he's doing... Shut up. In the meantime, we have the shot of the mother and her kids, one of them being the one that had that dream from earlier. They're walking through the supermarket, and we get some, guy following them around. Weirdo knocks some stuff over and runs off with them, and he gets his cell phone, and he's like, okay, we got her. So, yeah, she's obviously being followed around by people. No idea why, but we find out later. And it gets to a point where the kid is being visited by the spirits of the children that murdered their families. This time around, they actively communicate and have personalities, which, I don't know. I guess it's okay. I mean, some are better actors than others, but whatever. They start interacting with him, and they're going, hey, you should watch these videos of us killing our families. And he's like, no, that's kind of messed up. They're like, come on, do it. And he's like, okay. And that conversation happens about 4 or 5 times in the movie. It's like, either have it once or don't have it at all. This kid is an idiot. He doesn't know what he wants. And honestly, if you can't decide between wanting to watch a snuff film and not wanting to watch a snuff film, I question your moral integrity. But anyways, he shows up at the house. Freaking Deputy So-and-so shows up at the house, and he's like, hey, there's people here. Hi, mother and 2 children. I was unaware this place existed. And she's like, hey, do you work for that one guy? He's like, what guy? And she's like, oh, okay. So he chills out there, pretty much investigating stuff. We learn more about the kids. Okay, so you have Idiot Kid, who listens to ghosts telling him to watch snuff films. And then we have Jealous Sadist Kid, which at first he just acts like a butthurt bully, how he's like, oh, I want the ghost to talk to me. But then we learn, like, no, he knows what the ghosts are trying to get his brother to do, and is mad they didn't choose him to do the thing. He isn't mad at them because they want to kill his family. He's mad at them because they didn't choose him to kill the family. What a little shit. He's like the kid from The Good Son raised by Heath Ledger's Joker. That's sort of what we're dealing with right now. That and Freckles added to it. I don't know why I felt that was important to add. It's just, he has Freckles. There you go. So, Freckle Kid gets all mean. He starts kicking the crap out of his brother, etc., etc., saying fuck you to his mom, which admittingly kind of made me laugh. Then a confusing turn of events. Okay, so the kid actually refuses this time, to watch the final tape. He actually does not change his mind the very next second and says, no, I don't want to watch this anymore. And takes off. And they're like, oh, okay, it wasn't for you to watch anyways. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, what? And no, it's the little brother. So the little brother, who they constantly establish they don't want doing the deed, is now doing the deed. Okay. Also a weird thing. Okay, yeah, so even though there was a scene earlier in which they established, hey, we don't like you, and he storms off and they're telling non-freckled brother, hey, you should totally kill him. And he's gonna like, eh. So it seems like they actively wanted the brother, but just gave up the second he said no. Was it that easy? What stopped them the first time? Anyways, so yeah, little brother is going to be the one now, and they threaten to kill the kid if he says anything, which they're going to anyways, so why does it matter whether or not he tells anyone? Whatever. That's a thing, and his little brother is still being a maniacal shit. The dad shows up with legal papers saying, hey, we can all be a family again, and we see where a little freckled shit gets his psychoticness from, because this dude is an unstable psychopath. Like, he snaps and force feeds his kid mashed potatoes, which I'm a big fan of mashed potatoes, but you shouldn't be force feeding 9-year-olds that stuff. And he threatens Deputy so-and-so at gunpoint when he shows up. So yeah, you can kind of tell where this is going now that the family's all together. They end up on the crosses from the dream, ready to be set on fire. And hey, guess what? The dad actually gets set on fire and burnt first. And you know what? I'm okay with that. He was a wife beater and a kid beater. 2 beaters I don't care for. I don't even care for the kitchen utensil beaters. Anyways, yeah, he sets the dad on fire. He's screaming and freaking out. And so Deputy so-and-so gets in his car and drives through the cornfield to get there because, they're all the way away from the house. And the best part of the movie, he actually hits Freckled Kid with the car and, knocks him away. For some reason, the kid survives. I don't know how. He cracks his neck, and that's about it. Like, no, you get hit by a car, you can't get up. Maybe. I don't know. So he gets back up and chases after them with a sickle after he cuts them free. And instead of getting back in the car, running over the kid again, and backing up over him until he stops breathing, or, just getting in the car and driving away, they decide not to. No, they're going to run through the cornfield, because that seems like a great idea. Instead of getting back in, steel metal protection, you're just going to go run through a patch of things that you can't see through. Fantastic planning. This is what I'm talking about them being idiots. Get in the car. Car versus sickle. Guess what wins? The car. So they hide inside of the house, and here's another part that gets to me. So the ghosts have established they can teleport in this movie. If the kid runs away from them and hides in the barn, they can just appear there in an instant. But now they're actually walking around like they don't have that ability, and opening and closing doors. Now, my problem with this is, if they're ghost children, why can't they phase through the doors? But I digress. Eventually they do find them, and the kid attacks, and they run away again, and they're in a corner, and it looks like the kid has the camera, he's filming it, it looks like he's gonna cut them with the sickle, but then Deputy So-and-so knocks the camera out of his hand and breaks it, and the kid freaks out and goes, oh no, there's gotta be another one, and it turns out there isn't, and Magul is pissed, and kills him? It's not really clear. He touches him, and he starts, like, turning all ashy, and his skeleton is showing, but then it turns out that's all on a projector that's now on fire, and now the whole house is burning down, which would prevent the curse from spreading, I guess? I don't know. Magul's motivations, like most of the characters in this one, is not 100% clear. He's not a guy you can pick up on. Anyways, they leave that place, they go to a hotel, and Deputy So-and-so's like, yeah, I need to go inside this hotel room I was staying at for my investigation. And he goes inside, and boom, Magul jump scare, the same one as the first one. And that's the movie. I didn't really care for it. There's so many questions I could ask. First of all, again, yeah, if the kids can teleport, why can't they just teleport to different rooms or walk through walls when looking for Deputy So-and-so and the mother and the child? Why can't they do that? Second of all, after the house burns down, they leave, and they're not gonna call the cops at all? I mean, they know the family went there. They know the mother and the kid went there, so now we have dead guy in the middle of a cornfield, missing child, burnt down house, and no family. You don't think the police are going to look for them? And what's going to happen when they do find them? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Also, with the projector, in the first film, Ethan Hawke burnt all the film. He took it outside, and he set it on fire. But for some reason, it was back completely intact later on in the film. So why couldn't the projector come back? Isn't it a supernatural projector? Was it there that entire time? Because I assumed it was conjured up by Magul. Why would Magul have them use a camera that breaks so easily? Why can't it be a supernatural camera that doesn't break? Plus, why would that be the only one? You're telling me nobody ever dropped that and broke it before? Not a single time throughout this turn of events since the 60s has anyone ever damaged that camera? And why couldn't he make a new one? Why would he just get mad and burn down the house? Why not just give the kid another camera, give the kid a gun, and say, have fun, sport. It is so hot in this truck right now. Also, another thing I didn't like is the use of animals in this. Like, okay, so in the killing videos, there's one where they're hanging the family upside down, and they get killed by crocodiles, jumping up and biting them. And then there's another one which was really overly complex, where the people were crucified to the floor and had a bunch of bowls on their stomachs. And then rats crawled on top of their stomachs, and the kid closed the bowls. And then he heated up a bunch of coals and then put the coals on top of the bowls. And then the rats tunneled through the people's stomachs to get away from the hot coals. Yeah, this is an actual torture method, by the way. It's pretty gruesome. The human race is messed up. But I gotta say, these kills had a lot of factors to go along with it. One, what if the crocodiles didn't want the people? Would he just drown them? Why didn't he drown them in the first place? I mean, they treat it as if, oh, my footage has to be the best or something, so these kids are a bunch of freaking narcissists? I don't know. And the one with the rats really got me because that is dealing with a lot of factors. One, you have to assume that the rats are not just going to book it the second a person is walking towards them. And how would you make sure the rats got there? Did you know the rats were already there? How did you know they were going to go to the people? What did you use for baits? I didn't see them use any bait. And also, why is Magul messing with Deputy So-and-so so much? Like, he's constantly always jump scaring him, and I have to say, is he the only one that's seen these pictures? Because if I remember correctly, Ethan Hawke looks these pictures up online, so what? Magoo didn't jump scare anyone else online? It's just plot-centric characters? I don't get it. So, yeah, am I to assume that it was entirely peer pressure the whole time? How it was just the ghost telling them, hey, kill someone, over and over? Is that what happened with the little girl in the first one? Because it seems a little bit far-fetched. She seemed like, not herself, but whatever. Peer pressure, it gets the best of you. You start smoking, you start killing your family. We know all how it is. Really, these are my grievances. Like, the kid was overly psychotic. At first, he was playful inside of the, store and stuff. And then he's like, oh, I'm jealous that the ghosts are talking to you. Oh, I want to kill our family. Just turns into a complete little shit. I don't know, there's not much to say about this film. Again, it's not like so bad it made me angry. Just everything was subpar. It tried harder to be different, but at the same time, what made the first one good was a little bit of subtlety to it, slow, quiet scenes, like the kids just slowly moving throughout the house. But in this one, it's, bah, we're here, bah, bah. That's my jump scare noise. Copyrighted 2015. There's just not much to it. Again, it's hard to talk about. It's hard to talk about, like, negative things because everything was just meh. There was nothing, besides the stuff I brought up, there was nothing overly bad about it. It was just subpar and kind of dull. Not much to it. I mean, granted, the bad things definitely did weigh down the film, but there wasn't much good about it. And there was only a little bit bad about it. What would I rank this film? I don't know. 2 knuckles out of 5. I think that's the ranking system we're doing. This might become a regular series. I don't know. But if this is the best material I can get, just subpar meh films that don't really leave much of a positive nor negative impact, then I shan't be doing this very much often in the future. But who knows? Tell me your thoughts. What did you think of this movie? Did you think it was a piece of crap? Because I kind of did. Leave it down below. Also, subscribe to us and like the video. You can follow us on Twitter or Google+. And if you have any ideas for films that have already been released for me to review, leave those down below. And stuff. Why are you so breezy? Sinister 2. I will probably forget about it in a week.